Data of every description will pervade our consciousness. Holograms projected beneath our eyelids. Direct retinal stimulation.
Welcome to the DCC Museum.
Hi and welcome back at the museum. Today we're visiting Schwabach in Germany and we're visiting Thomas Falkner, who has invited us to take a first peek at the new ITTS box. This is the ITTS box NG for next generation, and Thomas is the latest volunteer at the DCC Museum who has single-handedly reverse engineered this box and developed this, and today we're here to hear his story.
Hello, I'm Thomas Falkner from Germany. I'm a software developer and electronics technician, and I'm the developer from the new ITTS box NG. The idea was to have an hi-fi rack with all historical hi-fi devices, different formats. For example, DCC, Minidisc or TAT. And so I started to search about such devices, and I found the channel of Ralph. And my first decision was to buy an DCC 951 because it is good to maintain and it is a device of the third generation. Yeah, first I started with to make self-records with a DCC device, and after a while I tried to find out some background information, what can I else do with it, and so I found a video about Philips ITTS box on the channel from the DCC Museum, and this brought me to the idea. Maybe there is a way to do it by myself. Maybe I can develop an own device, and because there are only 4 devices from the original box in the world, and then I found the DCC from the band Wet 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 on eBay. And this is exactly this cassette, what was shown in the video from Ralph, and this was an important decision to buy this one, because though I had a chance to compare my results, what I can read with my own device and what shows the original ITTS box. Yeah, I started to think about what microcontroller can help me for this project, and so I decided I use an ESP32 controller, and my first idea was maybe I can some pins connect directly with the digital output from the DCC player, and I hoped so I can get some information from this wire, and but the reality showed that it was absolutely impossible, because the information on the digital output comes much too fast. We have there 3 megahertz of frequency, or 3 megabits per second, and there was no chance to do it or to handle it with an ESP controller. Yeah, first I thought this is maybe the end of the project, but then I thought there are so many devices, hi-fi devices on the market with this digital output standard, and I can't believe that all the manufacturers did it in their own way. So there must an integrated circuit anywhere, and I began to search about it, and indeed there were some of integrated circuits. It is important to know that most of these integrated circuits only transmits audio data, and the additional information channels what are used for ITTS information are not supported of the most integrated circuits. And so I found some ICs with classical audio way, but not with this additional information. And after a long search, I found one older integrated circuit which can also deliver the information from these subchannels. When the audio plugins arrived, it was clear that these two additional pins, or 3 pins, exactly 3 pins, for the sub-channel information, were not lead out on the board, and an additional soldering was required. And the problem was the pins are really tiny, only 0.6 millimeters, and it is very small. And I tried to solder it, and I tried to add an wire and solder it, and but it was too hard for me, and I destroyed my first audio board. And with the second board, it was quite the same, and so I ordered new boards and decided to let me help from a soldering company here in our region, and they did this job for me. The next step was to make a program what communicate with this audio board, and this is not easy because this board delivers the information still in a high frequency, and so the algorithm is time critical in this point, and but it works in the end. And the result was that so I created a way to make a dump file from the information which come from the audio board. This dump file was important because so I had the possibility to analyze this information without the usage of the device all the time. My expectation was that I will not find any ITTS information on this dump file because I used DCC 951, and Ralph told in a video earlier that the ITTS box didn't work with devices of the third generation. But for my surprise, I found information on this dump file, and I was not sure at this moment is it really ITTS information or something else. But at the end, it wasn't. It was really an ITTS information. This was a great moment. It was a great moment. I was so happy to see this ITTS information. First thing what I did was to make a screenshot of it, and then I celebrated a little bit, and my dog got an extra goodie on this day. Then I tried to inspect the dump file and try to understand the structure of the information, and I thought it is really complicated and more complicated than I expected, and I tried to get a specification for the ITTS information. The specification exists, it is from Philips itself, but it is not free, and I searched in the internet and found some sources, but very expensive. And after a while I found a server, a Russian server, and they offered the specification for a lower price, and so I decided to buy it there. The details in the specification showed that the structure of the ITTS information is much more complex than I'm expected, and the way to show the information on the display based on the teletext or video text standard from this time, and nowadays we would do something with HTML maybe, but this didn't exist at this time. The teletext or video text standard uses around about 100 cassettes, but ITTS uses around about 500 at all, because there are many characters for foreign languages and foreign countries and so on, and there are a lot of parts for showing the graphics on ITTS, and the problem was for the cassette, for the classical cassette, there are some information in the specification of teletext where I can see how are the characters made, and but for the graphics elements there are no metrics there, so I had to do it by my own. I copied the pictures of these graphic elements and overlaid and metrics, and bit by bit I inserted it in a font editor, and this is for, as I said, for 500 characters. Next I tried to create an user interface for the PC. In my first version, the ITTS box was only an interface between the DCC player on the one hand and the PC on the other hand. And it works in two steps. I made a dump file from a DCC, and in the second step I tried to show this information from this dump file to the PC. And I was not sure at that moment if it is possible to make this process in once in a live way in real time, and but it works on the end, and so I could see the ITTS information in real time to the audio information of the hi-fi system. This first version worked very well, and so I bought a lot of DCCs on eBay, for example, but after a while it was not very comfortable always to turn on the PC to see the ITTS information when I play an DCC tape, and so I had the wish to have a display on the ITTS box itself, but I wasn't sure, is it possible, is there a display available what can, with the right resolution, is the CPU fast enough to handle it, and how will it work and so on. But I tried, and so I found around about 4-inch display, and with exactly the fitting resolution. And I made some speed tests, and so I found out, yes, it is possible. The original ITTS box is not the fastest, so I had a chance to reach the same speed, and I did it. I did my development on a breadboard. On the breadboard I had all parts which I needed, CPU, audio board, display and so on. And now I try to I tried to find an case for this device, but the problem was especially the display. There is no case on the market which I could use with this kind of display. This was not a good idea. So I tried to find another way, and so I thought about 3D printing, and this was a first try to make a case for this device with a hole for the display on the front, and the idea was to make it flexible, because you can put it on the top of a rack, for example, and see it from above, or you can put it in the 90-degree position, and you have the chance to see the display from the front. It differs from what kind of hi-fi rig do you have and how do you want it. And so I thought it is a flexible way to do it. And this was the first try in a 1:2 scaling. And at the end, this was the ready device in the end. And it was my first 3D printing project. I had to learn how I can construct such a complex model. Now the final device was finished, and I was very proud about it. And I was curious to see what the DCC Museum would say to this device, and especially what would they say to the fact that my ITTS box works with a device of the third generation. And I thought the best way would be to make a video about the ITTS box, and I made that one, and I made it in English, which is very difficult for me. That was very difficult for me, and the target was to show it to the DCC Museum, and I did it, and then I connected Ralph from the DCC Museum, and he answered me in a very, very quick time in the middle of the night of California time. So I talked with Ralph the first time, and it was clear the DCC Museum wants to have such an ITTS box, and I had built two of these boxes additional, and so I can offer Ralph such a box very quick. And the idea was that the DCC Museum can help me to make the ITTS box work with devices of the other generations. The first version worked with devices of the third generation, but what is with the first or the second and or the fourth generation? And I myself didn't had such devices, and so I couldn't test it. And the idea is the DCC Museum gets a device, and they can test it with their devices and make dump files of some cassettes, and I can analyze it and can see what works and what not works. And the first result was that it not worked with devices from the fourth generation, but it worked with three generation, of course, and with some problems on the first generation. And with the dump files, I had a chance to find out what the problems were, and I thought there is a small difference in the protocol between the devices. I think it is because CPUs of the modern devices were faster as the older one, and so they can handle this more information at the same time, and they changed the protocol a little bit. And the original ITTS box has no update for it. This is a developer GUI, Visual Studio Code from Microsoft, and I use it for developing the firmware of the ITTS box. Here we see the Kermit the Frog. This is a dump file what Ralph sent me, and this was a very important dump file for me because the graphic is very complicated in this case, and it shows me that all my parts which I have printed works together, and it is possible to show such a complex graphic in this way, and I'm very happy that this works.
Today, after spending 10 months of work in my spare time, I'm proud to present you the result. Since this is something like the next generation of ITTS device, so I called it ITTS Box in G. There is a 4-inch touch display on the front of the 3D printed case. At the rear side you can find 3 ports. The left one is a USB port. This can be connected to a power supply or to a computer for ITTS data transfer. The right ports are digital audio inputs in an optical and electronical version. In my setup, the electronical audio input is connected to my DCC player's audio output. After inserting the tape, the first what we see is the main menu. The ITTS content is organized in separate channels. Each channel is dedicated to a topic. There are some most common predefined channels which can be reached by the fixed menu on the bottom. Here we have the album information. The album name is Picture This and the band name is Wet Wet Wet. At this point we see information about the artists involved in the current song. Because this album is recorded from one band, so the artists on all songs are more or less the same. The songwriter or the producer may still be different. But there are sampler albums where the artist information differs from song to song. On the track list we see a list of all songs on the tape and the playing time. The cursor on the left side shows which song is currently playing. At the moment, the first song. Now we are back on the first channel, the main menu. Because we have a touchscreen on this device, we can click on a menu entry directly. On the original device, this is not possible. Now we will look to other tape with much more content. The album Human Wheels from John Mellencamp. This DCC shows that not only predefined topics are allowed. Here we have, for example, a channel dedicated to a tight member of the band. On the album channel we can see that even simple graphics can be shown. The cross is composed of small parts like a mosaic. The most interesting ITTS content on DCCs are lyrics, I think. Unfortunately, very few tapes with lyrics exist. Keep in mind that the lyrics are displayed synchronously with the music. The texts can be shown not only line by line. There are many creative possibilities here. Now I want to connect my ITTS box NG with my notebook. And here we are on my personal computer. This is a Windows system, and here we see the link to my ITTS box application. This application is made to view, record, playback and analyze ITTS data. On the right side we see the connection tab, and we see that the device is not connected at the moment. Now I insert the USB connector, and we see the application has found the device automatically, and the data stream has started. In the middle we see the content window, but at the moment we have no content because the tape in the player is still stopped, and so we see here the copyright screen instead. On the left side we will see some small preview windows which shows a small version of the content for each found channel. Here we see the front panel window. This is designed like the original device. Here a picture of the original ITTS box. All elements like buttons or LEDs are full functional. So we can say this is a kind of simulator for ITTS box. Now I want to start the tape. And we see on the left side, one by one, the channels where we found on the stream. And we see we have 7 channels on this tape. And the default channel is usually the main menu. And now we have content on our content main window. We can reach these channels on different ways. The first way is to click on the preview window, and we found, for example, the tracklist window or artist window, the band window, and so on. Another way is, especially for predefined channels, to click on the button of the front panel. Another way is over the main menu. We can click directly on a menu entry, for example the band, and then we reach the band page. And here we can go back. The original ITTS box has no preview window and no touchscreen and no mouse function. The only way to reach channels is on the one hand by clicking the button for predefined channels, and for channels like the band, what is not predefined, so there is no buttons there, you can use these buttons here, and we will see a cursor on the first menu entry, and we can choose a channel, and by clicking the enter button we reach the chosen channel. Back to the left side, we can see that some channels have more than one pages. For example, the band channel. Here we can see that there are 3 pages. The preview window switches between the available pages automatically, and on the front panel we can switch between these pages by clicking this cursor up and down button. This works all as the same like the original ITTS box. I hope. On the right side we see besides the connection tab the recorder tab. We can record the ITTS data stream to a dump file, and we have the option to compress the data stream to save space on the file system. And below on the file tab we see a list of such recorded files. We can play back, for example, the tape from the Scorpions. And we see now we have new content in our windows, and on the bottom we have the player, and the player shows that the full length of the recorded part is 49 minutes and 56 seconds, and the player runs in real time at the moment. We see it here, but we can increase the speed. This is interesting, for example, for showing the lyrics. We can go to the lyrics channel, and now we have to wait for the lyrics, and we can speed up this by increase the playback speed. For example, now we have a time speed as normal. I can increase it a little bit more, 60 time. And so on. Now I stop the playback. Besides the file tab, we have a status tab, and here we can see some additional technical information about the digital audio interface from the player. And for example, we see here we have pulse code modulation, and we see that the tape is copyright protected, and the kind of tape is pre-recorded, and the type of device what is connected is a DCC player, of course, but it could also be a CD player or a digital tuner or something else. And we see, for example, the sampling frequency is 44 kilohertz and so on. And here we see we are on the sector A at the moment. This means we are on the side A, and the last track was running. What was running was track number 2. The next tab is the ITTS tab. It shows some additional DCC specific informations. Here we see we have a device of the 3rd generation, and this is an important difference to the original device. The original ITTS box can only play ITTS informations of devices of the 1st or 2nd generation, And my ITTS box is an ITTS box of the next generation, and it can also play informations of devices of the third generation. The difference between the first and second generation on the one hand and the third generation on the other hand is the fragmentation of the ITTS message.
Okay, so as you can see, this was quite an enjoyable ride and a surprise for us to be receiving that message and a phone call from Thomas to explain to us what he had created. So vielen Dank for your hospitality. Thomas's box is available for order. They are custom built, so they're always going to be one-offs. He will build them as the orders come in. More information will be on our website, and we will also include Thomas's direct email address. Again, vielen Dank for hosting us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.